Colnaghi, as you know, we always try to make an effort. It's not only about celebrating exhibitions with beautiful paintings, but also adding some value. Because of this, this time we have joined on a long-term project of 5 years with Artur, Ramon and Sala. We like to say that between the three galleries we have 500 years of experience, and the idea is really to promote these artists that even if they were winning all the awards at the period, like the Biennale of Venice or even the Universal Exhibition in Paris, have remained somehow a little bit forgotten. They are now obviously represented in important museums like the Museo del Prado and the Hispanic or Reina Sofia Thyssen collection, but we want them to populate all the international museums, and we hope that this will be the case. So talking about the selection of painters, we have, we're very lucky to exhibit 13 different painters, of which Rusiñol is one of our favorites, especially this painting is something very special because, as we were talking before about the concept, we are looking at this project as an historical perspective, like an historical point of view of this movement, but actually all these painters were contemporary artists and they were showing at Sala, which is one of our partners in Barcelona at the time 100 years ago. So specifically this painting was shown in 1912 in the exhibition Sala, and then afterwards presented in the National Prize in Madrid, where he won the first medal. So that makes us very proud and give us having the opportunity of showing this painting 100 years later and finding a new home is something that we really like, that we think that it's our job. So regarding Rusiñol, he was one of the earliest painters. He was born in 1960. Like all these artists, he had his starting point in Barcelona, going to the academies in Barcelona, having a very kind of academic, very formalist, let's say, formation. But then he travels to Paris with Casas, and then he discovers, the Impressionists, and actually, Paris at that moment is the center of the world, and they kind of really learning so much, and then they come back with their own interpretation, and everybody evolves differently. So, in the case of Rusiñol, he becomes like a garden painter. He's actually, this kind of gardens is very much the center of his production. And it's typical from him because you can see, the way he structures the painting, it's always the same with, with an axis here, in the middle with the sculpture as a reference, and he's working very much. He wants to express this kind of romantic idea of loneliness, and he really makes it, through his technique with these liquid brushstrokes. He was always saying that for him, the gardens were like verses written by flowers, and that they were so elegant, these old gardens, that they would die elegantly and create a new life. And when you see these paintings, you really enjoy it that way. You really got the message that he wanted to share with you. He keep on painting gardens the rest of his life, going back and forwards. This is one of the first periods in Monforte. But the fact that we can again show this painting 100 years later makes us very proud. And we would like to find the right institution or private collection to keep writing a history for it. From all the painters in this exhibition, I have my personal little crush for this artist, Joaquín, because unlike the rest of them, he never left Spain. He never went to Rome, he never went to Paris. So, all the technical solutions that reminds us, to the Impressionists, all these kind of Expressionists, it's something, there are solutions that he arrived himself. He said always that he had an inside rage that he had to free somehow, and he found that way of freeing through painting in Mallorca. This is a painting of 1903. He spent 3-4 years there, and it's a very kind of special period because, as you can see, it's a completely abstract period. So it's a very personal and very expressionist way of painting. He was painting in plein air like all the rest, and he unfortunately had an accident falling down from one of these caves in Mallorca in 1904, and he had to go back to, let's say, to Spain, to a mental hospital for 2 years, where he started, evolving his own style. And this is something that we wanted to reflect it in the exhibition, starting for this kind of much more personal and abstract period, going to, the period of 1905, 1906 with the Allée, and then finally on the his more mature period, where he, even though you can see on the material and the brushstrokes, he's very savage, he's very strong, but at the same time he's more formalist. You can see more the use of light, the shapes. So he's evolving to a much more commercial and secure style that he finally made him very successful at the time. So this is one of the great examples of his latest period. It's around 1940s. It's a painting from the period of Vilanova. We need to think that, Mir is a painter with a great evolution. He studied like everybody in the academies in Barcelona, where he feels that he's not complete. He wants to grow. Unlike the other ones, like the other painters, he never traveled outside Spain. So all the solutions that we see in here, it's solutions that he arrived by himself. In this case, this painting, it's already after his more expressionist period, and he's going back to, not back, but evolving to the impressionist. You can see that, you can recognize the brushstrokes and the way that he's using the material and the light is very much related to what we would think about impressionists on the 1890s, 1900s in France. So he's arriving to this solution, and actually this was, this style is what he really made him very successful in his period. To finalize our selection, which is very difficult because we have 13 great artists and we need to pick up three, or we wanted to pick up three. I've chosen Anglada-Camarasa because he has also something different. Again, like all of them, he studied in Barcelona and then he traveled in Paris where he lived his bohemian life, and then coming back to Spain where he, somehow the different war periods determined where he was living. So he lived first in Mallorca from 1940 to 1936, to then lived to Barcelona during the Civil War because of the invasion of the regime, where he stood in Montserrat for 3 years as the steward of the collection of the famous Caravaggio, and then he went back to Mallorca in 1950s. What I like of these two paintings is that you can really see how his style didn't change that much. Sometimes with all these artists, because landscape is such an important part of their production, it's difficult to date the paintings. The fact that these paintings have been exhibited in Sala Paris in different times, we give us some reference. So we are able, in a way, to place them. What is different from these artists is that he's just going to the plein air to take notes. Unlike the other ones who were really painting at plein air, he's just taking notes, even photograph, and then making collage in his study where he really would paint the paintings. That's a very interesting and different approach for what is the group. No? In this case, what I like from him is just his interpretation of color and the way that he was using, even the tubes to put the, all the material. So it's really also a very personal style. Of course, we're now showing all these paintings, so these nice videos, but I would really recommend people to come, because just to see them, even to touch them, it's a completely different experience.